Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Chris Mason and Rachel Byrne.
Our headlines today. In a video from hospital, President Trump says he's doing well, but will continue coronavirus treatment for a few more critical days.
I'm starting to feel good. You don't know over the next period of a few days. I guess that's the real test. So we'll be seeing what happens over those next couple of days.
The UK registers almost 13,000 daily coronavirus cases, nearly doubling from the day before. The government says a technical issue is to blame.
Good morning from a very wet London marathon. 45,000 runners around the country will be taking part in the virtual marathon. Fingers crossed for better conditions wherever you are. While the elite runners will finish their race as usual on the Mall right here. I'll have more for you throughout the morning.
What animal do you like?
How cute is that? Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis asked Sir David Attenborough about the future of our planet.
Good morning. Well, it's another wet day for quite a few of us today. Met Office amber weather warnings remain in force and we are quite likely to see some flooding building in as we go through the day. I'll have more details coming up a little bit later on.
Good morning. It is Sunday the 4th of October. Our top story, Donald Trump has released a video from hospital where he says he's feeling better, but that the next few days will be the real test.
The president was admitted for treatment after testing positive for coronavirus earlier this week. The video comes a day after a day of mixed messages over his health, as our North America correspondent Peter Bowes reports.
Donald Trump's first full day in hospital. A day of confusion and concern over the president's health, with mixed messages coming from his doctors and the White House. And then, late in the day, a tweet from the president and another video, an update from Mr. Trump on his condition.
I came here, wasn't feeling so well. I feel much better now. We're working hard to get me all the way back. I have to be back.
When he addressed reporters outside Walter Reed Medical Center earlier, the president's personal physician said Mr. Trump's symptoms, a mild cough, nasal congestion and fatigue, were now resolving and improving. But he was vague on whether the president had needed oxygen at any point.
Has he ever been on supplemental oxygen?
Right now, he is not on oxygen.
I know you keep saying
That's
right now, but should we read into the fact that he had been previously?
Yesterday and today, he was not on oxygen.
So he has not been on it during his COVID treatment?
He's not on oxygen right now.
It later emerged that Mr. Trump had received oxygen at the White House before he was admitted to hospital. There was further confusion when the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, indicated to reporters at the hospital that the president was still not on a clear path to a full recovery. There is a consensus that the next few days will be crucial. Donald Trump has been given 2 experimental drugs, which it's hoped will speed up his recovery from COVID-19.
I'm starting to feel good. You don't know over the next period of a few days. I guess that's the real test. So we'll be seeing what happens over those next couple of days.
Mr. Trump also sought to explain his decision not to shelter at home from the virus.
I had no choice because I just didn't want to stay in the White House. I was given that alternative. Stay in the White House, lock yourself in, don't ever leave, don't even go to the Oval Office. Just stay upstairs and enjoy it. Don't see people, don't talk to people, and just be done with it. And I can't do that.
With the president in hospital, there's growing concern that more members of his inner circle are also testing positive for the virus. Many of them attended what's been described as a super spreader event at the White House last weekend, where Mr. Trump named his nominee for the vacant seat on the Supreme Court. They include the former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, who's checked himself into hospital with a slight fever. This is a crisis that's engulfed the Trump administration less than a month before the election. Peter Bowes, BBC News, Los Angeles.
And we can talk to Peter right now. Nice to see you, Peter. We're waking up in the UK to this new video. I guess you guys in the States have had a few hours to digest it. I wonder what the reaction to it has been.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. Certainly a lot of reaction to it. And I think it's the message that certainly a lot of Donald Trump's supporters wanted to see and hear, because as I've just been hearing, there's been a lot of confusion over the last 24 hours with mixed messages from what we've heard from the Donald Trump's doctors and what the White House was saying. And it's almost as if Donald Trump has said, right, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to be my own press spokesman and tell the story as I believe it should be told. And that, of course, is typical Donald Trump. And there he was, looking reasonably okay, saying that he is feeling better. The message is the same now. Donald Trump said the next few days will be crucial. And in a statement released later in the day from his doctor, the key line in it was that the president isn't out of the woods yet, but he has made substantial progress. So the mood and the tone is upbeat, but it's a cautious one, and they're looking to the next few days to really get a clear idea as to how Donald Trump is doing and as to whether ultimately he's going to make a fast recovery.
Thank you, Peter. Peter Bowes there in Los Angeles.
Now, almost 13,000 new cases of coronavirus were confirmed across the UK yesterday, nearly double the previous day's total.
Now, the government says the spike was caused by what they describe as a technical error, which led to a delay in publishing some of the positive results from the last week of September.
Well, our political correspondent Nick Eardley is in our London newsroom this morning. Nick, what is this technical problem?
Morning, Rachel. It's all to do with how the figures are collated, and basically what the government's saying is, yes, this looks bad, it's nearly double the figure from the previous day, but it's actually because there was a delay in recording some of the tests, if that makes sense. So some of the tests that were done in the community weren't added to the figures at the right time. It won't affect how people get their own positive results if that is what they are getting, but the government's basically saying that it was this technical issue that means that that figure was so high yesterday. It does, I suppose, raise some questions that are being asked consistently about how these figures are collated. It's awkward for the government. It does raise questions about how those figures are coming together. But there is an explanation that this isn't suddenly double the number of people testing positive in a day. It's all basically all about how the figures are collected.
Well, what does this new information then tell us about the actual trajectory of the spread of the infection at the moment? Because there was a suggestion that it was levelling off after this fairly alarming rise in recent days. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's interesting because we have seen a big increase in the number of positive cases. It was going up last week. Then we, as you say, we got that suggestion that the rule of 6 might be working in England, and that actually there might be a case for the reproduction rate going down to closer to 1. I think the next few days are going to be pretty key in figuring out exactly what is going on. If the government's saying that don't totally rely on that 13,000 number, it tends to ask us more to focus on what's going on over a 7-day period of time. So whatever happens over the next few days, I think will probably give us a firmer picture, and there'll be a lot of scrutiny over that because of those figures from yesterday.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Let's take a look at what's also in the news this morning. And at least 2 people have died and dozens more are missing after a powerful storm hit southern France and northern Italy. Villages around the French city of Nice have suffered serious damage, with the mayor there calling it the worst flooding in living memory. In Italy's Piedmont region, the situation has been described as extremely critical. Roads and bridges have been washed away by floodwater.
So David Attenborough told Breakfast earlier this week that his hope for the future of the planet lies in the hands of children. And some of our younger viewers were given the chance to ask him their own questions.
Now, 3 more. I don't know if they're viewers or not, but I hope they are. Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis have each been quizzing Sir David about the natural world, and Frankie McCamley was listening in.
Hello, David Attenborough. What animal do you think will become extinct next?
Well, let's hope there won't be any, because there are lots of things we can do when animals are reduced to and danger of extinction. We can protect them.
A big question from a very little royal. Prince George has joined his siblings to ask Sir David Attenborough a question about animals.
Because animals are so precious, so let's hope there won't be any more that go extinct.
Hello, David Attenborough. I like spiders. Do you like spiders too?
I love spiders. I'm so glad you like them. I think they're wonderful things. Why is it that people are so frightened of them? I think it's because they've actually got 8 legs.
It's a rare glimpse of the children speaking, and the first time we've heard from their little brother, Prince Louis.
What animal do you like?
I think I like monkeys best because they're such fun. They can jump all over the place, and they can they don't bite. At least, well, some do, but we're a bit careful they don't bite. And they're so funny, and I like them a lot.
The children are joining Sir David Attenborough and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge in a documentary airing on ITV tomorrow. The Duke is calling for action to tackle climate change, just like the commitment shown in combating coronavirus.
I've always believed it's possible to give the young people hope. Whoa! Look at that. And belief that things can get fixed. I have belief that if we all work together, we can make a difference.
Frankie McCamley, BBC News.
Now, more than 40,000 people from all over the world will take part in the first ever virtual London Marathon today. Only the elite athletes will run together, completing the 26.2 miles around St James's Park in London. I think it's 19 laps of the park. Other runners will be able to take part wherever they are. They'll have to do it via the official London Marathon app. I mean, all the usual nonsense, as you can see here. But the map will map their progress, track their progress, and we'll have loads of coverage on today's London Marathon.
Yeah, it's a London Marathon with a twist, isn't it? We'll be speaking to some of the runners taking part virtually in terms of their own kind of setup of trying to clock up the miles, throughout the morning here on Breakfast.
And Breakfast, very own Louise Minchin is, of course, taking part as well. She's running alongside Rob Rinder, who's doing it just to keep her company, not officially, but just
I'm thinking, I mean, it's normally in April, isn't it, the marathon?
Yeah.
So the weather can be a bit hit and miss in April, but this weekend,
it's grim.
October.
Yeah, it's been
a
really
bit of
grim.
a soggy 26.2, is that right?
Yeah.
26.2 miles.
We'll get the full weather forecast for you in just a moment. But we'll take a look at the front pages first of all. Start with the Mirror. Their headline claims President Trump repeatedly asked, "Am I going to die?" when he received his positive test for coronavirus. The paper also says the president is still not on a clear path to recovery, despite his upbeat tweet from hospital. There's some uncertainty over timings, isn't there?
There is, isn't there? Yeah. Let's take a look at the front page of the Sunday Times, or one of the stories there. It suggests that farmers are downsizing turkeys for a rule of 6 Christmas. The paper says that farmers expect less demand for bigger birds this year, as family gatherings could be limited under the coronavirus restrictions. So breeders must decide whether to put the birds on a crash diet or slaughter them early.
I mean, it has to be said, that's not actually their lead story. Their lead story is about President Trump. But anyway,
it's a good story, though.
Front page of the Telegraph, a royal grilling for Sir David. That has the photo of Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis filmed asking questions about their favourite animals and the threat of extinction to Sir David Attenborough.
And let's take a look at the Washington Post online. It reflects on what it describes as a day of confusion and conflicting statements relating to the health of President Trump. The article focuses on a statement from Mr. Trump's doctor, who said he had made substantial progress since his diagnosis and will be closely monitored in between these doses of an experimental drug.
Just a bit more on that turkey story, because I've been reading some of the detail around it. It is obviously the story of the day. Turkeys can range from 3 kilograms to 20 kilograms. Most families opt for around 6, which will feed a gathering of 10 with leftovers for Boxing Day. Now, my suggestion is just carry on with the big bird and let it feed you for the rest of the month.
What is it, 20 minutes a pound and 20 minutes over?
Oh, my goodness, well done.
Turkey jalfrezi by, the end of Boxing Day.
Exactly. I leave the turkey cooking to someone else. That's never my department.
I can't believe we're talking about this. And what is it, the 4th of October?
It's Dolly Parton was singing Christmas songs on 5 Live yesterday.
She was, wasn't she? Yes. Christmas albums. This caught my eye in the Sunday Times, which is how keen some of us have been to kind of pimp up our bookshelves a bit in the last 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be appearing, chatting to the relatives on various, video apps, or more professional encounters with our colleagues and people showing off. And a particular suggestion here that some people are inclined, including Ben Fogle, the broadcaster, to go for colour coordination on the bookshelves. So you don't just want to look clever by putting some clever-looking books, but getting the colours right.
But I think, aren't some people hiring sort of professionals to come in and actually organise their living room, their Zoom backgrounds, to make an impression on, you know, big kind of corporate conference calls?
I think I'm going to go for the alternative, just have the clothes horse and a pair of soggy jeans or whatever hanging over. That's the way to stand out, isn't it?
That's pretty much what's happening behind this sofa here, let me tell you.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.